And good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. It is election day here in the town of Griswold. Whoa, hold on. It's not only election day, it's I can't catch my breath day, apparently. A couple of gentlemen we haven't seen in a while. Sitting over here on Retiree Row.
Well, we haven't been paid in 4 months.
Yeah, well, guess what?
I mean,
Losing the building. What do you want me to do?
No play, no pay.
That's it.
Hey, my bills go on whether you pay me or not.
Yeah, that's true.
Al, I mean, he's wealthy. He goes off to the Arizona and lives the life of Riley. You know?
Texas.
Yeah.
Go south.
So Jim Barney is here, who we haven't seen in a while, and Mr. Jewett City Emeritus.
Hey.
Hell yeah. Give me a wow.
Yes.
No, give me a wow.
Wow.
All right.
Al's trademark.
Now we're ready.
All right. Today's election day. Are you familiar with all the candidates, gentlemen? Well, Al, you live in Lisbon.
Well, I'm familiar with most of them, the current ones that are currently in office.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm not.
You got to do something. You're like, can't even hear you.
Well, turn up the mic.
I did.
All right. Unfortunately, there's a lot of new people on that list that I am not familiar with, and I like to do my research on.
I got to do something because it's.
Well, I can move my chair up a little bit too if you want.
Yeah. Where's the light? Right there. Right?
Yeah.
Now you got to talk into that.
Well, that's okay, but if you got people that are screwing around with it and turn it to 180 degrees away, which I'm not aware of.
We don't have it set for you anymore because you're never here.
Well, hey, life moves on.
Yeah. So, you're familiar with all the candidates?
No, I'm not.
You're not familiar. Okay.
No. I was saying that there's a lot of new names on there that I am not familiar with.
Mhm.
So I was going to quiz you because I planned on coming to the interviews you were holding, but that just got messed up with everything else. And
so, what names are? Oh, he's got a list.
well,
Jim always comes with a list.
well,
or
what
some
I
sort
have
of,
really is I have a sample
sort of-
ballot. Okay.
Okay.
And it's
All right.
2-pager.
And
Front and back.
Well, actually, yeah, the ballot's front and back, but I have 2 pages because I've started filling out my cheat sheet when I go to vote.
Okay.
I got names. One of them really, I really don't know where I want to go is with the Board of Finance and the Board of Education.
Those are the two big boards that people are focused on right now. Too.
Yeah.
That I notice that when I talk to people, they talk about the Board of Finance and they talk about the Board of Education.
I don't know Gary. I don't know Gordon. I don't know Tom. The only one I know is Alex
So,
on the Board of Finance. So tell me something about them.
I'm going to go ahead and answer that question first, and then tell you what I think I know.
Okay.
Here at SNSN, we have gone ahead and interviewed all of the Republican candidates and all of the Democratic candidates, which are available not just on Facebook, but other social media, such as YouTube. Like there's, if you see behind us, there's one of our football games that we broadcast. So every one of those names that you've mentioned, they've been actually Gary Bolak was right where you're sitting right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you want me to tell you about him. I mean, because I don't know. I'm not going to sell the candidates.
No, I'm
you
not.
know?
I'm not.
The only thing I know about Gary Bolak is that he has moved here from Plainfield. I'd say I think he said 9-10 years ago. He served on a couple of boards there, and he's running here.
I think I heard he actually served on the Board of Finance up there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So that's all. I don't really know much about him, except for he came in here and had to say. But like I said, those videos are available right up on YouTube. What was the other name?
Well, it was Tom Pulaski.
He was here. Don't really know anything about him.
Yeah. I'm making an assumption that that's Yvonne's husband.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
And that's something that we've got a number of those husband and wife teams between the Board of Finance and involvement with the school.
How do you feel about that?
I'm uncomfortable about it.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm uncomfortable about it.
Okay. That's fair. No, I'm curious. You know, I wonder how many people are uncomfortable with that.
I don't know.
How about you, Al? Are you?
I'm not like with Jim here. I wasn't too familiar with some of the names on the list. I did see a list for the first time. I believe it was yesterday.
Mhm.
You wanna-
And,
you wanna look at it.
yeah.
It is.
And you know, from what I could see, most of the new names were probably on the Republican ticket. Am I correct with that? Or
It seems. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. The Republicans are they're definitely making a big push this year,
and so I mean, at one time I could remember
more so than in previous years.
Yeah, because I could remember years that it was hard to even get 10 people to run
Mhm.
on a Republican ticket
Yep.
because it was mostly a Democratic town.
Right.
And as far as husbands and wives being on the same boards,
Well, I don't think they're on the same
They're not on the
boards.
same
They're
board.
on different boards.
One may be involved with the school, and one may be is on the
Well,
Board of
there,
Finance.
well, yes, there are. So, you know, of course, you're talking about Stu Norman,
He's just one.
yeah, who's on the Board of Education, and Gail Rook Norman, his wife, is on the Board of Finance.
Yep.
Now, Yvonne Pulaski, who's on the Board of Education, and her husband is running for
Board of Finance.
Board of Finance.
Keep going.
No, you next.
Well, okay. You got Dan Webster on the Board of Finance.
And Shannon
And you got
Webster
Shannon
on the
Webster on the Board of Ed.
Education, right?
All right. And then you have Scott Davis on the Board of Finance, and his wife is a teacher, I believe.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, that's a little
different. but-
milder. I
yeah.
agree. Okay. And I'm not saying
no.
I'm not saying
I think that's stretching it a little.
I'm not saying that there's any impropriety at all
Mhm.
amongst any of these people. I know some of them very well, personally. Okay. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the image that's portrayed there.
Okay. How do you feel about the image? What is the image?
Well, the image is you got one your biggest budget is the Board of Ed. Okay. And you got one person that's involved, that's a member of the Board of Ed that are going to be fighting for the school. And you got another person who's on the finance board.
Okay.
That's my concern.
I think
So what you're saying is basically your concern and your worry is that they're in cahoots
I don't
and
want-
they're swaying.
I'm
Is
not-
that what you're saying?
I'm
or-
not saying that. I'm saying that the picture that could be painted is that.
Mhm.
Don't put words in my mouth, because this is a pretty touchy subject.
Well, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you're the one that brought it up. You're the one that said, this and this and this and this. So I'm trying to, don't get offended, Jim. But you said, there's some impropriety.
I don't. If I use that word, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm just
I don't
trying
mean
to
that.
get an idea what is meant by what you're saying, because this has been going on for years.
Of course it has, and there's been much
So-
discussion about it for years too.
I personally don't think there's much with such a small town that you can do about it. I mean, look, you could even say Todd
Well-
Babbitt and Tina Falk.
Yes.
The
definitely.
board of the current first selectman and the senior center director. However, I will say
But they're not significantly influencing budgets.
some people would say differently.
Okay.
because
I mean,
of
Tina doesn't even report to Todd. She reports
No.
to the finance.
no.
director.
And you know what? I got to say on their behalf. Well, I don't speak on their behalf, but everything that I have seen when it comes to Tina and Todd, if something that Todd is talking about that is even remotely, it could be connected to the senior center, then Tina leaves the room, and vice versa. I've seen Todd leave the room,
Yeah.
and stuff. So, there's that, but there are a lot of people as well, and this has been a big bone of contention, and this is something that could be hurtful to their campaign. Is that the whole thing is now perception is reality.
Sure.
Okay, so the whole senior center issues.
Yep.
Right. Do I think personally that with the rise in prices, it had they did any kind of dirty pool? No, I don't. I think COVID happened and then everything went up. I mean, just go to Home Depot. You can find that out real quick just by looking at lumber prices.
Yeah. I mean, our electrician went up $1,000.
Sure.
$1,000 for doing a raised ranch between the first one and the second one.
Sure. So we can
That
all
was just the electrician.
right, and we can all cry foul and say, "Oh, you know what? It went up. It must be, they misuse of funds or treason or whatever."
Yeah, I
Or that
really
kind of
don't
crap.
think it was misuse of funds.
I don't either, but I think sometimes when you're trying to convince people with confirmation bias,
Mm.
you're gonna use that. I don't think there's any creepy stuff going on or any bad stuff going on. I just
No.
think it was like, oh, this happened. What are you gonna do? Well, they faced it. They asked they went and asked for more money and they got it. End of story.
But
So-
but then they got a grant too.
They did
Okay.
get a grant.
And it turned into something like I don't know the exact number.
They don't
Somewhere
talk
around
about that.
they should talk about it, okay? Because they're turning back about $250,000. If I've got that number right, I thought it was a little more than that, but I think it's about $250,000.
A little more.
240.
I think it was
240.
3 something.
Well, okay. I don't know what the real number is.
Regardless,
Yeah.
it was a sizable amount that brought that figure down.
Yeah.
Oh no, they were looking for 343. I think you're right. Then they got $250,000. Then they had to
No, they got over $1 million grant.
no.
Yeah.
They still had to put up about $1 million. But I think you're right. They got 2.5.
I don't think either one of us have got the right numbers, Mike.
Okay.
But
I probably don't at all. But I think the folks that are looking to vote for Dana Bennett are using that as fodder for them.
yes,
Does the senior center, are they affecting the budget? Well, because of the new senior center, yes, but this has been going on since 2011.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened now.
Yeah.
And you didn't hear anything then.
Well, what
Well-
brought it up is Corona.
Well,
You know,
and
Corona
the,
stepped in.
and the price of the thing, the project went up too
Mhm.
since 2011. But you look at the purchasing power of your dollars. Okay, there's nothing that isn't going up.
That is very true. Have you looked at the price of beef? Even the price of beef is ridiculous.
Well, if you want to eat healthy, you basically should stop eating meat to a large degree.
Donna says good morning and welcome back, Al.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
So I don't know. I think I kind of feel that there was some mudslinging this time around, which I don't think they've really had a lot of mudslinging in the past.
I'd agree.
But I think this time around, there's some people that are flinging stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think the tone of the election is?
What do you mean?
I
by
mean,
the
do
tone?
you think that people are generally, and I ask you a lot of these questions because you're on a lot of boards and you hear a lot of things and you see a lot of things. So I tend to listen to what you have to say a lot. And what do you feel is the tone? Meaning, are people looking for a change? Or do you feel that, as a general consensus, that people are satisfied with the way things are going.
I think you've got a group of people who are very upset about the cost of the senior center. Okay. And so I think the answer to your question is kind of both pieces of what you said.
Okay.
That's my feeling. Okay.
I think it depends on the party we're in.
A large degree to that. I've discussed this party issue ad infinitum, and I hate the whole party system. I don't know how you go about replacing it.
Mhm.
People who I've talked to, both Republicans and Democrats, they say they hate it, but yet they still run under one banner or the other. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop running under a banner. I mean, stop professing to be a Democrat or a Republican. Start to profess that you're in the best interests of the town. And when you get the parties involved, I don't think that necessarily means you're going to be in the best interests of the town.
I mean, I'm a quote unquote registered Republican,
That's not my fault.
but right, but that's all I say. I don't say what I do, what I vote for, who I vote for.
Yeah.
I don't tell anybody. I don't use it, on this station. I don't use it as, a tool. Yeah, no, I don't at all. I will tell you though, that I did vote this morning. I voted at about 6:15, 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, I did not vote party line.
Right.
I never do.
I never do either. I mean,
Never.
My tentative vote is I've got it arranged right now. I'm leaning slightly Democratic as opposed to Republican, which is I tend to lie in the conservative side of the equation.
Mhm.
But I don't vote party. I vote person and what they stand for.
I think in small town politics, I don't really know what the difference is between a Republican and a Democrat.
Well, if you
There's
look at
not
the
a lot.
national, if you look at the national level, there isn't much.
Right, but it's even less, on small hometown type of politics. I don't think there's a lot of difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I think it's choose a side.
I think as you get down to the local level, you're absolutely correct. As you move up the state level, that's very much party.
Yep.
And of course, the federal level is just totally party. I'm actually very surprised that Joe Manson hasn't been disappeared, to be honest with you.
Okay. Al, you've been involved in the
Political arena.
yeah for quite some time. I mean, you've actually ran on Republican and Democratic sides. Have you not?
No.
Were you a
I'm-
registered Republican or a
No,
Democrat, and then you
no.
moved, and then
I was independent at first.
all right, okay, all
Then
right,
I
all
went
right.
to the Democrat Party.
Okay.
Why did you do that?
Why did I do that? Because I wanted the support of the Democratic team.
That's the answer I expected. That's why
Mhm.
that's why people are on one
Mhm.
run on one party or the other. I mean,
Mhm.
my understanding is long before I even came to Griswold that there was a strong effort to create an independent party here in town. You've been around a long time,
Mhm.
both of you guys. There was some lady and her husband, I guess, that were very influential in that, from what I understand.
I don't know. Not much. Not much in the chat room today. A couple of good mornings. One from Donna and one from Angela Adams, from the Greater Norwich Area Chamber of Commerce.
I mean, one of the things that I started to do last night, this is still on the political subject,
Mhm.
is that I'm trying to figure out who the heck I really want to vote for. And there's a number of candidates that I don't know much of anything about. So I started to put together some questions. And that led me into a further thought, which I'm going to explore with a few people. And that is to get a few Republicans, a few Democrats, and a few people who are in the middle of the road, like myself, and put together a list of questions, a detailed list of questions, on various subjects, and how they feel about them.
Mhm.
And I'll just give you a couple of examples of what I started with, and I only spent about 5 minutes on this so far. let's see. I didn't really get started on my I started with the Board of Ed, and then I didn't get, and then I was moving into the Board of Finance, and I didn't really get anything down on paper.
See, I think a lot of people think the same way you do, but don't do the work. And then it comes down to, oh, I'm just going to go to the booth and I'm just going to circle numbers.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to a lot. And I think sometimes, if you confuse people enough, you'll get a vote.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Like I said, the only questions I have with me today is, Board of Education budget, do you think it should be increased? Do you think it's about right? Or do you think it should be decreased? Okay. And I would like every candidate to answer that question. All right. Because there's some people who feel it's probably just right. There's some that feel so that the voter can vote for the person that's representing what they believe in or want. Do you feel the education system has been improved since President Carter created the Department of Education? And I think that was in 1986.
So I'm going to jump right in on those two real quick.
Go ahead.
First of all, the one circling Jimmy Carter, no one's going to know what the hell you're talking about. I'm going to guarantee you, no one's going to know what you're talking about.
I basically decided to make it more generic in actuality. Do you think since the Department of Education has been created, education is providing better education at the local level?
Do I personally?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's more poor. I think it's poor. I think it's going. I think it's good. Status quo. What am I talking about? You know what? No, I don't. I know, and I'll tell you why. Because I've seen a lot of kids just get pushed through the system.
Yes.
And it's like, here you go, Johnny. Good luck.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the ruling is on that. I don't know who controls that, but I do. I see kids that are failing.
Yeah.
Just about every subject, and it's like, push them through. And then so what happens? What happens? Do the kids can they pass? Absolutely. It's because of a lot of them are just apathetic. They don't care because they know they don't have to do anything. Because why? Because they're going to get promoted anyway.
I mean,
I guess I don't.
Yeah.
The second thing is I want to jump in about asking a candidate about the financial end. Are we spending enough? Are we not spending enough? Are we spending just the right? The three bears question.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a candidate to say we need to spend a lot more.
Oh, I think there will be.
I don't think so. You want to know why? Because Joe E. voter that is out there, all right, 62-year-old husband and wife sitting home. They don't have any kids in this school system whatsoever. They've gone through it. They're done. They're married, have their own kids, but they live out of town. So they don't have a dog in the fight as far as any kids going to Griswold High School or elementary school or the middle school. Do they vote for an increase? No.
Because
there's a lot of that.
Go up.
They don't want their taxes to go up. So you have Al Gear, just as for argument's sake, sitting here going, you know what, folks? We need to spend more money on our education. We need this, and this.
Huh.
You have lost 50% of your voting base.
Yeah.
You're going to go, they're going to tune right out.
But you've gained 50% of your voting base.
No, you have not. You're lucky to keep the 50% that you had.
All right.
Jim, people don't think like you. This is why I listen to you. They don't think like you. I think they should be spending more money. I think there's a lot of things that they need to be doing. Would I pay more money? Yes.
I'm not willing to pay more money for what we have at this particular point. I have no opinion. I have no money. I have no problem financing education. I just don't think that the money that we're spending, we are getting the education that we should be for our kids. And I think it's because of the federal government. And they basically have bribed the states into putting all of these policies in that have nothing to do with education. I can't quote it exactly, but I found a report a couple of years ago, and I have mentioned it in the past. Okay, a superintendent or a principal at one of the school systems in Connecticut went through, and he added up every unfunded mandate that was forced on the town,
Okay.
and that applies to every one of us. And it came up to over. I don't even want to throw a number out there because I forget what the number was, but it was an astronomical number.
It was substantial.
It was substantial, yeah. Okay, and it had nothing to do with actually educating the kids. It was all about bureaucracy and about a whole lot of paperwork and a whole lot of data that nobody ever does anything with. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Those kinds of things.
But see, you're right. I agree with you, but it's not just a Griswold thing.
No, I said it's
Yeah.
it's nationwide.
So if anybody thinks we're picking on Griswold and the education system, no, we're not. It's straight across the board.
Absolutely.
Yes, across the country.
It's across
Sure.
the country. Okay. The
Yeah.
education system has been bought and paid for by the federal government.
Look, I've had stepkids in the past that did not do well academically. Could they have? Sure. But they didn't apply themselves because didn't have to.
I mean, I know of a specific incidence whereby a child was going to be promoted to the 4th grade, not here in Griswold. This was in Massachusetts. Okay, was going to be promoted to the 4th grade, and that child was doing like grade 2.5 work, and the parent went down and had a real go around with the when they have the parent teachers meetings. In fact, this person said to them, "You're promoting my child, which you agree is doing 2.5 year work, into the 4th grade. What do you think that's going to do to that child long term?" And the teacher got so mad, walked out of the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, they're pushing the kids
They're
right
just-
through,
Yeah. Just
pushing them through.
Okay. And that particular kid, I still know who it is working on a master's degree right now.
Let's see. We got a couple of candidates. I mean, a couple of not candidates. A couple of comments. Donna says, "I don't vote party line. I vote for the individuals and what is best for the town, state, or country." Daryl, it would be great if the candidates gave straight answers instead of deflecting or giving answers that don't even address the question that was asked.
And politicians in particular are very good at that. I don't know that I didn't hear your interviews with the candidates, so I don't know whether that was true at the local level here, but it certainly is at the state and the federal level. And I agree with Daryl on that whole point.
Michael says the problem starts at home with the parents not enforcing their kids study at home and do their homework, and they don't get involved with what's going on with their kids' grades.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people sit there and go, "I don't have time."
Yeah, go to your room, do your homework.
Yeah. Well,
But-
then don't have children if you're not going to
Yeah.
invest the time in them.
But I also think there are a lot of kids that know that there's going to be no repercussions. And I'm not talking about at home. I'm talking about in school.
Yeah.
There's going to be no repercussions. Why? Because you're going to just slide right on through.
Yeah.
So what happens at home? So you have those aggregate ideas that you're just going to go ahead and I'm not going to do it. You can tell me whatever you want, Mom.
I'll get through
You
it.
tell me whatever you want, Dad. Doesn't matter. You have homework today? No. I don't think I've ever heard a kid say, "Yep, got homework."
Yeah. The parents don't even check to see if they got homework. They ask the children.
And there are millions of tools. I mean, you can go online. You can see exactly what the kids are doing, what they've handed in, what they haven't handed in. You know, and they can say whatever they want. Kids are manipulative, you know, and I know it. So you can tell Mom and Dad whatever you want. Why? Because they're going to just slide on through.
Mhm.
So
And there are some children who are going to do whatever they want, damn the consequences.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what the parent says.
Dan Webster, good morning, Dan. Says, "Good morning, guys." And Kathy Wasilick, "Good morning, guys. Happy election day." I don't know if we're that happy.
All
Maybe.
right. You want to
Like-
continue with a few
Go
more
for it.
questions?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Do Do you feel the federal government has too much influence over the education system? Well, we've kind of already
Yeah.
talked about that
Touched
somewhat.
on that one.
Yeah. I mean, just put it this way. Look at some of the money.
Yeah, it's all
There's a
about-
grant right now that the schools have accepted in lieu of kids got to wear masks.
Yeah.
They still have to wear the masks in the schools because they accepted this money.
Yep.
Anyway, go ahead.
And the same question is about the state of Connecticut. Do you feel the local municipalities should have control over policy and subject material?
Read that again.
Do you think the local municipalities should have control over policy and subject material so that the local education board of education and the residents are the ones that are controlling what subjects you're teaching and the policies that should be implemented?
That's a Jim Barney question, I'll tell you.
You suck.
Well, I'm probably making some enemies here this morning.
No.
And
It's food for thought.
No,
you
I'm
know?
not
I
talking
mean,
about within this the three of us. I'm saying some people listening to me are going to say he's a wacko. I don't want him anyways.
I don't think so, Jim. I
Okay,
think
and-
they're thinking, boy, I really don't know the answer
This
to that
guy,
question.
this guy did his research,
Mhm.
and that's what a lot of more parents have
Ooh.
to do.
I think the Board of Education should have input, but I don't think they should have total control, ultimate domain. No,
Why not?
because I think, all right, I think the parents need to get involved. I think the teachers and the staff need to be involved. But the problem is you don't get that. Have you been to a Board of Education meeting lately?
I haven't been lately, but
Okay.
I went. I went.
You-
To
I
almost
know
every-
you go.
I went to almost every one for about 3 years until COVID.
I know you have. So that's why I kind of asked that question. How many people do you see there?
Me,
There you go. It all goes back to apathy.
absolutely.
So we sit and we cry and we whine about all the shit we want,
Yeah,
but we don't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
you always think somebody else is going to do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you know what? It's true. I mean, you can be mad. You can be mad, get mad. But think about it. It's we're not lying.
And the parents' excuse for not going to some of the meetings, I'm too busy.
And there are, I mean, most of them don't do it virtually, but at least they have a call-in system that you can call and listen to. So I mean, I know my phone.
well, you
I
and I and Ed Burdick have been after getting things put out on the internet or on the thing for
Please.
3 years now. The PEGA grants are out there again, and as I understand it, Todd and his group there, the first selectman, they have applied for these PEGA grants again. Okay, and I'm not sure, but my understanding is the school already has this capability. So why aren't we broadcasting the all of the school board meetings and other meetings that are of importance?
I'll tell you why. I know why.
Well, you're going to tell me because we don't have the money to have somebody doing it.
Partially.
Okay, what's
The other
what's
part of
rest
that
the
is you don't have the volunteers. You don't have the volunteers. You're going to have somebody who go, hey, you know what? George in the back row. Yes, George. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. George shows up for 2 and never shows up again.
Mhm.
This is the problem.
Mhm.
Apathy.
Yeah, it goes back to that again.
And that's the problem. Same thing with town hall, board of education meetings, board of finance, board of animal control. Who cares?
Because if people,
Nobody's gone.
I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of people out there that if that was available for them at home, that they would take and be more involved, at least from the point of seeing the details of what's going on.
I'd never seen so many people virtually at a meeting as I had when COVID was around,
Yes.
and people were jumping into those meetings.
Mhm.
So it works.
Yeah.
So people will do that. People will come out only if you're dealing with guns, because that's really it's guns. People come out for their guns in this town. That's about it. That's about it.
Right.
So,
Well, I gotta-
it's not a bad thing. It's just that's what everybody seems to get motivated by.
I got a couple of more here, and that'll end it, I guess.
I just want to say Laura pipes in, says all the standard testing is bribes from the state. I do not have popular opinion when I told the teachers I'm not raising a test taker. And Jamie O'Neill Eaton, the Board of Education meetings are held in person with a virtual option for those that would like to attend remotely. And I did say that.
Yeah, you did.
I did say that, Jamie. And I remotely meaning I said telephone. There, it's not virtual. Virtual is on camera and available on somebody's tablet, phone,
Yeah,
computer.
a Zoom meeting.
That's
A Zoom meeting.
right. That's
Okay.
virtual.
Calling in on a phone.
That's not
number,
virtual.
That's crap.
That's not virtual.
Okay. Do you believe federal?
Just by definition.
Do you believe federal or state funding has a negative influence, control in parentheses, over education?
Yes.
I don't think anybody's going to disagree. Well, there may be some people who will
Oh, sure there
disagree
will.
with it. And the last one I had here was, and these aren't questions just for these aren't questions just for people running for the Board of Ed. These are questions for everybody that's running, so that we understand every candidate's position on items
Mhm.
that are important to the community.
Jamie says there's a Google Meet option along with call-in. So Jamie, are you saying that at Board of Education meetings, there's a camera that is being run? Because that's news to me. And if it is, that's awesome. That's excellent that if it is, but it is news to me. So, or is it just something for audio? Board of Fine. I can't even think. Board of Selectmen, same thing, audio only. But I don't know. I don't know if anybody's running a camera at the Board of Education meetings. Yes, and people have attended virtually. Well, then that's good news. That is good news, Jamie. I had no idea. The only thing I've seen is a call-in option. Matter of fact, I'm going to look at it right now.
The last Board of Education meeting that I was at, no, that was a finance board meeting. I'm sorry.
Let's see here.
So the last one I got I'm going to generate a hell of a lot more, but the last one I got here is: would you like to see state and federal funding for schools eliminated if there is a corresponding reduction in local property taxes? So in other words, it would be revenue neutral. The towns and the cities would pay for it out of a reduction in their federal income, the money that's collected from everybody in the town. That gets the money out of it, other than at the local level.
I'm looking at. All right, so Jamie, I'm going to assume that the Board of Education is really looks like the first that actually just started August 16th, because that's the only one that has a meeting ID on it. I mean, hey, you know what? I'm glad that you're doing it, but I thought it was just a phone call option, so I stand corrected, and I made sure I said so. I don't have any issues saying, oh, I didn't know, or I was wrong. So there you go. So that's good. That's good. At least there's a virtual option. But
how many people even know about it? And I have to.
That's not the Board of Education's fault.
Well, if the information isn't out there, it is. Okay.
It is out there.
Well, is it posted on an agenda? What the code is and everything else
Yep.
that you need to get in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I've had the same thing for 7 years here. No matter what you put out there, the majority of the population will say, oh, nobody told me anything. Well, sometimes you have to go get the information.
Absolutely. There's
You
some
got to find
respons-
the information.
We all have to be responsible.
Right.
to
So
dig
this
for
is
it.
this the Board of Education's fault? No. But if you go to the Board of Education's website where their agendas are there, or any agenda for any meeting in town, it'll let you know exactly what they're going
Well,
to talk about that night.
and that's another problem that I believe that they're working on and that is we have an unbelievably cumbersome.
Don't say the website because the website's fine.
The town website,
Yeah, it's
it
fine.
stinks.
No. I disagree.
Well,
So-
that's because you're intimately familiar with it. But for somebody that isn't, every time I go there, I have to spend time to try and find out where to get to where I want to be.
Okay, so you know what? I go to grizzled-ct.org, right?
Yep.
And then if I'm looking for a meeting agenda,
Mm-hmm.
second button down. No, sorry. First one is make a tax payment. Next one is economic development. Next one is meetings and agendas. Click.
Yep.
One click.
Yep.
Every meeting that is coming up. So, Zoning Board of Appeals, they have a meeting tomorrow. Thursday, Ordinance Committee has a meeting. Grizzled Housing Authority. The borough had a meeting last night. And the agenda is still up there. Okay. I'm just looking at it again, make sure there's nothing to do with me. Good. Never know. And then if you scroll down just below that, it says minutes. And every board. Boom, 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 boom.
Look
boom.
at the dates on some of the last minutes that have been posted.
I know that. And I understand that. But what I will say
And
is
that has nothing to do with the website in particular.
correct. When's the last public health and safety meeting committee you guys had?
When's the last one that we had?
Yes.
I'll tell you in a minute because I was
Okay.
at it.
That's what I thought.
Then I got to go back to October. Public health and safety.
So October.
That's October. It was like October 18th. It's the
Okay.
third. It's the third Monday of the month.
Who's the recording secretary?
The recording secretary would be.
Is it Susan?
Yes, Susan for that one.
Then ask Susan why she hasn't posted the minutes or submitted them to the town. So is it the town? No, it's the board.
I didn't say it was a town.
Right. So the last public health and safety committee meeting minutes is April 19th. That's posted here.
And I think we went quite a while without having a meeting.
Right, but I knew you had one recently.
Yeah.
That's why I
Oh,
looked
so
at
you
that
were
one.
setting me up, was it?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I fooled you, didn't I?
Well, I knew it wasn't you because I knew you weren't the secretary. I knew Susan Gunderman was. Borough of Jewett City, latest minutes, 10-4.
Yeah, I was going to say, I suspect
Yep.
they're right up there on.
They
right on
are.
top. And the Board of Education is right up there. on
They are
top.
too.
Yeah.
They are too. Okay. So even the Glasgow Water Pollution Control Authority, August 24th.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, there are some that are way back, but there are also some that haven't met.
Yes,
When's the last time the Borough Benefits Committee met?
that was disbanded probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. Latest minutes, November 19th of 2019.
3 years ago.
Okay.
Going on 4.
Rookstown Cemetery Committee. July. But they probably haven't met since then.
Probably haven't.
So
I mean, public health and safety, we don't meet in July and August anyways. And
Right, right, right.
I'm not sure why that is. I mean, just because you come to July and August doesn't mean there's no public health and safety. Do we suspend it for 2 months?
Laura says I've listened to some finance meetings over the after the fact, but virtual would have been so much better.
And virtual is like you and I talk about, where you got a camera there that's
This is virtual.
Yeah.
This is virtual.
Mhm.
The high school does have all the audio video equipment. I know one of the IT, I think it's the assistant IT director, Kyle Gunderman. He's worked pretty hard on getting grants
uh-huh.
and stuff for equipment for the school. So he has, and I know they have a lot of stuff, and he's trying to run the student run program where they're broadcasting sports, but they have a hard time getting students that want to participate in that, and learn about broadcasting and that kind of,
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what's involved. You know, my technology is back a couple of decades ago, so I have not kept up with the technology.
Well,
And
so I learned something today. Learned a
Mike,
couple
as you
things,
know,
but-
I have an expression that I love to use. If I don't learn something new every day, I might as well be dead.
What's your excuse, Al? Ah!
He was just going to say he's dead, but you didn't give him a chance.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You combed your hair today. It's
You should
beautiful.
never stop
I'm
learning.
going to get a haircut, Mike.
Would you say, Jim? I'm sorry.
I said you should never stop learning.
No, of course not.
No, I think every day is a learning day. You learn something new just about every day.
You do.
Mhm.
Oh, you should.
You should.
And it may be pretty damn minor.
Yeah.
You know. But the problem is, at our age, we forget it by the time we get up the next morning.
That's so true, Jim. So true.
So, I did a little mock type of poll
You did.
on
Huh?
Facebook yesterday.
All right.
I did one today. Polls are open. It's election day. Are you voting? 28 votes yes. 1 maybe. But then I did another one.
That's going to be interesting to see what the turnout is in the election today, which is just a local election. There's no state election, is there?
Mm-mm.
And no federal election, compared to previous years when there was just a town election. It'd be very interesting to see how those numbers compare.
I would
'Cause
think
I-
it'd probably be up,
I think it's going to be up. Yeah.
at
because-
least in Griswold,
Yes,
it would be up
Yes, I think it's going to
because
be
of
up
more
as well.
people that are participating and on the ballot.
So one of the things we did in the poll was, who would you vote for selectmen? Now, people are not going to, I would think a majority of people are not going to go ahead and answer that question publicly. But some have.
Well, was your poll by name, or do they just enter a yes or no?
Oh, yeah, they do yes or no.
Okay, so anybody can vote on it, and it's not known what their vote.
Exactly. Well, no, it attaches their name. But anyway,
Oh, it does.
Dana Bennett leads that poll over Todd Babbitt, 33-15.
Uh-huh.
So is that
Is that indicative of something? I mean, Dana has
I don't
been
know.
very, very active in rousing the troops.
I talked to somebody yesterday, and the feeling was that Dana Bennett has been, quote unquote, everywhere. And the other side was, the quote was, where's Todd been? So from a visibility standpoint, Bennett gets the nod for that.
Mm-hmm.
I would think so.
Yep.
She has been out and about. Is that going to equate to votes? Sometimes it does.
Yeah, I think it does.
Absolutely. She's been
Having-
door knocking. Does that equate to votes?
Yep.
Sure
Yes.
does.
Yeah. It's what the visual
So-
presentation presents.
So we'll have to, of course, we'll know tonight.
Yeah.
At about 8:25.
I mean, you remember an election, School Check's first election, he won by 1 vote.
And then when they did the recount, he won by 2.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We Paul and I were talking about that yesterday because the question is like, or the statement we hear a lot is, I'm not going to vote. It's not going to make a difference.
It does make a difference.
It
It does.
makes a difference. So put it this way. So School Check won by 2 votes, right? What if just three people,
Yeah.
a couple of neighbors
Yeah.
got together that didn't vote and did get and went over and grabbed one other person and then they voted for, was it Phil Anthony
Yeah.
that he was against?
Mhm.
Yeah.
School Check never would enter the House of Reps.
Right.
Yep.
So there you go. So it does matter.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I have this argument with people all the time. My vote doesn't matter. BS, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter.
It does matter. It does. I mean,
I mean, the thing is, and I don't know if we'll ever know it in the last national election, there appears to have been so much corruption that it's beyond. I mean, who's going to trust the voting system? I mean, when you can vote and drive by a box and just drop a ballot in, what's the identification process? I mean,
Yeah, who is this person?
yeah,
Actually, we had Jennifer Gauthier, Valerie Pudva, and Cindy Martin yesterday,
Mhm.
and they described the process
Mhm.
of that, and it's not just single checking but double checking.
Mhm.
Because one of the questions that came up, it said, well, if somebody votes during the election and they drop off their ballot, but then they die day of the election or day before, does the vote count? Yes.
because they probably don't have. They probably
No,
don't
excuse
have
me.
enough-
If they voted after the election, I'm sorry. If they died like after the election, then the
Oh.
vote does count.
Oh yeah, that.
But if it's before, it does not.
Okay, how do they? I mean, that gets kind of hard to pick those out because I mean, where do you get your death notices from?
I'm sure they get them from somewhere
Yeah, I'm
because
sure
they're going to
they
need
do,
them for probate.
But
so
they die the day before the election. I mean, I just don't know that date is going to be available.
I think they would probably have some sort of line of communication with the OCMA. I would think.
Hey, well, all we can do
Let's
is
hope.
speculate. All we can do is speculate.
Right.
And I think Connecticut is probably a little tighter than some of these other states are.
And Griswold, I think, is. I mean, we have just under what did she say? Just under 8,000 registered voters in Griswold.
That's not a bad number considering what there's 12 or 13,000 in the whole town. And borough.
Right, but how many are you actually going to get?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a number out there.
Yeah.
And
See
we'll
if
see.
your number's the same as mine.
1,200.
Ooh, you're low compared to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 15 or 1,800
Okay.
in this election.
Right, this election.
Yeah.
Because you always get more during a presidential year.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm going to go with 1,200.
All right.
1,200 people to vote. Al, what do you say?
I would be on the low side of
Okay.
that, simply because of it's being a local election,
Mhm.
not a federal.
Yeah, presidential election will bring more people out, obviously.
Well, you reach more people again with visual stuff, as opposed to just hearing, "Hey, don't vote for him" or "Don't vote for her."
No, I'm bringing 4 additional people with me.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Because they go
good.
They go vote or they don't eat.
I texted Melissa this morning. I said,
Don't forget to vote.
don't forget to vote.
What do
You know?
What's vote?
What, we got an election today?
Yeah. Well, she knew. Come on, it's hard not to know when you're
Yeah,
living with me
we-
for crying
we-
out loud.
And also by just riding around town, all the signage that's out there.
Oh, she knows. She's well aware. She's, as they say, woke. But I did. I'm just the of the cloth that everybody should vote. I think it's very, very important that you do.
I think more people should vote, and
Yeah.
so you get a
you're-
consensus of what the town.
You're referring to people voting that are alive.
Right? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you're alive and well, you should vote.
Yeah. I do. I do believe people should vote. They should exercise that right. Absolutely, 100%. I've Al, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you and I have talked about it.
Yeah.
My theory about it is, if you didn't vote and you're complaining about something,
You have no right to
sit
complain.
down.
Yeah. If,
Yeah.
if you didn't vote, you don't have any right to talk.
Right.
Right.
So let's hope. I would rather see more than 1,200 people.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen though.
because 1,200 is like what's the percentage of the total that are
Well, it's about 10%
Eligible.
of the total voted, the total people in the town but
So if you got 8,000,
yeah,
so it's about 15%, maybe.
yeah,
I'll give you the exact number.
13%,
You know what?
13 plus percent.
Let's listen to you, Mr. Math over here. I'm going to tell you exactly. Go watch Jim be right.
But as Jim opened up the program by saying about got to get rid of this two-party system. I don't know what you replace it with. Maybe something similar to what they do over in England. 10.8.
11%.
Yeah. But you know,
you used 8,000 registered voted by 12.
Oh, hold on a minute. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I did by resident.
Okay.
Hold on.
I know I'm a lot slower than I used to be, Mike. But
Hold on a minute. Am I doing this wrong?
Jesus.
8,000, right? Divided by 12. Or is it 12 divided by 8,000?
1,200 divided by 8,000.
All right. 15%.
15%.
Still right. No matter what, I'm still right.
But
All right. Well, we will know tonight.
yeah,
We will know tonight.
yes, you will.
God, we're acting like the world's coming to the end. Like we're all death warmed over or something.
No.
We can't. We got steak dinner Tuesday night.
Yes, we do.
God, you should come to that, Jim. It's a blast.
Yeah.
It is fun. You like steak?
Yeah,
I eat steak, of course.
yeah.
Come have steak with us.
It's a real good dinner that they put on. up
$20.
there.
You
For
get
$20.
steak,
Yeah.
salad,
Pasta,
pasta,
bread.
lots of bread,
Yep.
steak, potato.
Yeah.
It's good.
And a vegetable.
And eating like that is why we as a nation are all sick.
That's right. Well, come on down and get unhealthy, Jim. You know, because you know it's just a bunch of dudes. One of the guys that was sitting with me, one of the guys that coached with me on the fall ball team,
Mm-hmm.
he looks around. He goes, "Wait a minute, there's like 120 people there, right?"
Yeah.
He goes, "This is a real sausage fest here." I said, "Yeah, because it's men's steak night."
Yeah.
Well, it didn't seem like you had any more participation today than the last time I was in here, as far as people who are.
It depends on the subject matter. I think there are certain things that people don't want to talk about,
If we were talking about raising taxes,
or they don't want to put themselves, their opinions out there where people can see their names. Yeah, it's kind of like that poll I put up as far as would you vote for, who's your candidate? Is it Todd Babbitt or is it Dana Bennett? And
nobody really wants to say, right?
Well,
I think there's a lot of people that don't want others to know who they're voting for
Right,
whatever
that's
reason
it.
that they have. It's your own personal right,
well, in polls, I think you got 45 people that responded to that.
Yeah, it
poll.
was just a little one, yeah.
How many people respond to one of the polls you put out there?
Depending, I've had a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, but again, you'll see people go, I don't care.
What's that?
Some people go, I don't care.
Yeah.
I think you have to hit something that is something that some people that are really passionate about.
When you hit a nerve.
Yeah, and I don't think people are all that passionate. I think you have a select group that is passionate about this, but as a whole, what's the word of the day? Apathy.
Mm.
And I hate to say that, but I really believe that to be true.
And
Love to see more participation. Love to see participation at town meetings, board meetings.
Well, one way to get it is to have the virtual ones so that people can tune in if they can't be at that meeting physically.
Yep.
So
and here's another pet peeve of mine. Okay, I go to a lot of different board meetings, not just my own.
Mhm.
Okay, and sometimes they have a public forum at the beginning, and sometimes they
At
have
the
it
end.
at the end. Okay, Now, if they have a public forum at the beginning, you haven't heard any discussion about the subjects that are on the
Mhm.
agenda. So how can you make any
You can't.
intelligent comments? And if they have it at the end, they've already voted on the subject. So what difference does it make whether you get some inputs or not? So one of the things that I would like to see, and I've started to agitate for it, is save all your votes until after you've had a public forum, so that you can get the inputs from the public that's there, even if it's only one or two. Okay. And stop voting before you hear what the public may have to say.
Well, that's a good point. In closing, because the bells of the borough are sounding in the background, meaning it's the top of the hour. I will say one thing. There was one gentleman that is pretty visible on Griswold social media.
It's not me.
No, nor is it Al. And him and I kind of went around and round a couple of times. Nothing bad, just debate.
Mhm.
And his name's Greg Allard.
Okay, he's a candidate for a position.
Right. So I started sending him an instant message, and I went, dude, you got a lot of good ideas, which I think that he does. I said, have you ever thought of running for something? No, I haven't. And I told him, I said, whatever your idea is, good, bad, or indifferent, you're not afraid to put it out there. I said, and that's what and Jim too. But just as a person who's never run before, who's never gotten involved. And he's never gotten involved to that point. And I told him, I said, you should. And that's what this town needs. They need new people with new, fresh ideas. People may like your ideas. People,
Or they may not.
Or they may not. But he's not weird about putting his ideas out there. He does. He's very, very vocal, in social media.
Well, maybe you should
Never
give-
rude
maybe-
and everything. And you know what? Then I found out he was running. And I sent him a message. I said, dude, I'm proud of you.
So maybe you should get him and I in here, boy. We could have one hell of a discussion, huh? Depending on which way it goes.
So Gregory Allard, whether you win, lose, or whatever, congratulations, you did win, because you are a resident that
Got involved.
And cares.
and cared and wanted to make a change because you care about the town. And that right there is certainly an attaboy.
Yep.
Give him a double chili cheese dog from me. All right. So, all right. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Al. Thanks for jumping in here on Retiree Row.
Retiree row. I like that.
Who's retired?
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us really ever retire.
No.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Psychic Thursday. Woohoo! And we'll talk about what's tomorrow? It's Wednesday. It's Paul Lash.
Formally retiring from your job is a good thing, but to retire from life, you might as well be dead.
You might as well.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about the winners and the losers tomorrow morning, right here on SNSN. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
So long.